Hello and welcome to the Fossil Huntress podcast. I hope you guys are all doing well. Today on the show, I thought we would talk about those adorable little teddy bears, koala bears, who aren't bears at all. They belong to a group of mammals known as marsupials. Koalas are native to Australia, and we've found fossil remains of koala-like animals dating back about 25 million years. So around that time, the climate changed in Australia. It became drier, and some of the ancient vegetation evolved to what we now know as eucalyptus. And it's become the favorite food source of our dear koalas. So koalas have pouches on their bellies where their newborns develop. They're kind of sort of an armful of animals, so bigger than a cat, cuddly, soft gray, dark gray. They've got good hands for gripping and rather longish nails, so they're good for living in the trees. And when their wee newborns develop, they're called joeys, and they're born blind and earless. But they have a strong sense of touch and smell, and that guides them instinctively up to their mother, from their mother's pouch where they're born, and they live here for about 6 months. When they're a wee bit stronger and braver, they start getting curious and forage around, and then they like to move up onto mama's back and ride there until they're about a year old. So they see the world from the safety of mama, and then they slowly gain their courage and their independence. Adult koalas love eucalyptus trees and spend their days leisurely eating and napping amongst the foliage. Koalas are herbivores, so they eat plants as their primary diet. And their diet consists primarily of eucalyptus leaves, but they can be found in trees, other trees, acacia and melaleuca. And what I learned about eucalyptus is that there's over 600 species of eucalyptus, but koalas show a strong preference for about 30 of those tastier species. They tend to choose eucalyptus that have a higher protein content and lower in fiber. So they have a few favorites that make up about 20% of their diet. And despite their reputation as fussy eaters, koala are much more generalists than some other marsupials. And they're not quite as picky as some of the great gliders. So eucalyptus has a high water content, so the koalas don't need to drink, or not very often. So its daily water turnover rate is much less than other animals. Females meet their water requirements from eating leaves, and the larger males go out to find groundwater or drink in the tree hollows. When a koala is feeding, it'll hook onto a branch with its hind paws and one forepaw, and then use its other little cuddly arm to grasp the foliage and eat it in a leisurely pace. These guys, next to sloths, are the most chill of all the animals when you see them. They consume about 14 ounces or 400 grams of leaves each day. And they spread this over 4 to 6 feeding sessions. So they eat for a little bit, they nap for a little bit. They've got a good life. And despite their adaptations to a low energy lifestyle, they have very meager fat reserves, and they need to feed often. So they look kind of cuddly and cute and a little bit chubby, but that's not the case. All that chub is actually fur. And koalas are enviably lazy. Because they get so little energy from their diets, they conserve their energy and sleep or rest for about 20 hours a day. They're primarily active at night and spend most of their waking hours feeding. So they typically eat and sleep in the same tree. When it gets hot, they'll move to the lower parts of the tree so it's a little bit cooler. And when they're very hot, they'll hug the tree to transfer their heat into the cooling bark so that they don't have to pant. On warm days, they may bask in the sun with their back against a branch or lie on their stomach and just with their limbs dangling. If it gets chilly or wet, they might curl into a tight ball to conserve energy. On windy days, they go lower down the tree to rest, so they know how to maintain a good lifestyle. And koalas keep to themselves, and they keep themselves tidy. They groom themselves with their hind paws and forepaws and mouth, kind of the way a kitty cat does some personal care and grooming. One of the interesting things about koalas is that they have fingerprints very similar to our own. So compared side by side, it would take a pretty good detective to sort which species is which. And in several adorable whodunit cases, their prints have been confused at crime scenes as that of a potential perpetrator. And I'm not making that up. That's entirely true. So close relatives like gorillas and chimps have prints as well. But what is even more amazing about koala prints is that they've evolved independently on the evolutionary stream. So primates and modern koalas, which are marsupial ancestors, broke off on the evolutionary path about 70 million years ago. And it appears that the koala's fingerprints are a relatively recent evolutionary feature. So many of their closest relatives, the lovely wombats and kangaroos, do not have them. So they're a beautiful cuddly species and kind of one of the hallmarks of Australia. When I picture Australia, I picture kangaroos and I picture koalas. So I did up a little blog post, which day, on Feb 3rd, 2021, showing a lovely picture of a koala peeking around a tree. So you're welcome to check that out. And I hope you guys are having a good day, and thanks for listening.